I simply had to chuckle and shake my head when I received the email from the bishop a few weeks back as we were preparing for last Sunday's worship. Because the bishop could not have set up this Sunday's worship any better. Let me explain. We are now in the 30th chapter of the story, Paul's final days. And as we were anticipating the bishop to come and worship with us last Sunday, and as I received his email on the text he was going to use, now please note, he could have used any text in the Bible he wanted to. Any of the 66 books, any of the chapters, any of the verses, but he chose 2 Timothy 1, which was found in chapter 29 and chapter 30 of the story. He couldn't have set what we were going to do today up any better, and he was not prompted by me. He was prompted by the Holy Spirit to share last week about Paul in a jail cell, writing to young Timothy to encourage him, where today we see Paul in the final days of his life in prison, awaiting his demise. You see, Paul's final missionary journey was a jail cell. That was his final journey. His days are numbered. And before we come to the communion table this morning, I want us to ask ourselves, what can we learn from Paul's letter to young Timothy just prior to his final days? What are some truths that we can discern from Paul? As I call my reflection this morning, the secrets to a life well lived. What are some secrets that Paul shares with Timothy that might speak to us this morning? There's a few, and the first is this. We are called to fight the good fight. Dr. M. Scott Peck, in the classic book, The Road Less Traveled, begins his book in the very first chapter with this sentence: life is difficult. Have you found that out yet, friends? That life is difficult. I think the church does us a great theological disservice when all we preach about is grace and rose petals and tranquility and serenity and blessings from above, because life is difficult. Life is a struggle, I believe, across the totality of life. We see it among nations, fighting amongst themselves and each other. We see it in the midst of governments struggling in constant turmoil. We see struggles within churches, spiritual struggles, relational struggles, financial struggles. But these struggles aren't just a part of institutions. They're a part of our lives also. From the very beginning to the very end, we're all involved in struggles. A newborn struggles to be born. A child struggles to learn. A teenager struggles under peer pressure. Young adults struggle to find their niche, to keep their marriages alive and raise children at the same time. Older adults struggle with health problems and even perhaps financial issues. The truth is that from the beginning of life to the end, we are in a battle. And I think Paul was right on target when he describes life as a fight. But if Jesus taught us anything, he revealed that often the most difficult struggle is the one we all fight within ourselves. The inner struggles. The struggles from within. The struggle toward wholeness, toward forgiveness, toward receiving unconditional love. The struggle of self-worth. The struggle of spiritual clarity, of discernment, and even the struggle of dealing with our past hurts and past regrets. I believe that we are all fighting something, but Paul pushes the envelope a little further. We all fight a fight. We all have struggles, but what Paul wants us to answer this morning is this. Is that what we are fighting? Is it good? We can have struggles and fights, but they may not be good struggles and fights. What Paul is urging young Timothy to do is to live a life worth fighting. To fight the good fight. And friends, there is no better fight. There is no greater good than the gospel of Jesus Christ. To be the vibrant body of Christ in a hurting and dying and oftentimes bad world. Paul urges Timothy that amidst the fight to do something else, to make his life worth living. And he tells him to finish the race. Don't quit. Finish and continue the work in which God called him. What Paul is doing is encouraging Timothy to never throw in the towel. You know, life is filled with countless examples of those that flourish, those that have their moment in time but never finish the race. We see it all across the news, whether it be professional athletes or the most popular, or even those within our neighborhoods and families, those who can flourish. But Paul wants to know who can finish. Who can finish? And as I began to ponder that, who can finish? My spirit was struck with the understanding of our character. We finish because of our character. And there is an immense difference between one's character and one's reputation. I came across this quote this week in my study. It says this, quote, "Reputation is what others think of you. Character is what God knows of you." That's worth repeating. Reputation is what others think of you. Character is what God knows of you. I want to share this particular reading I also came across. And it's a reading entitled, "What is Character?" And it says this. "In the home, it is kindness. In business, it is honesty. In society, it is courtesy. In work, it is thoroughness. In play, it is fairness. Toward the fortunate, it is congratulations. Toward the weak, it is help. Toward the wicked, it is resistance. Toward the strong, it is discernment. Toward the penitent, it is forgiveness. And toward God, it is reverence." We must finish the race. Even though life is a struggle, we must finish the race. And I look at Paul as he describes how he finished the race, how he endured the struggle. In his words, please listen. He tells us he endured hunger and thirst and nakedness. He was cold. He endured sleeplessness. He was homeless. He endured persecution. He was cast down. He was afflicted, beaten, imprisoned, slandered. He endured poverty and floggings, 5 times given 39 lashes. He was beaten with rods, stones, shipwrecked, drifted in the open sea for 24 hours. He was in danger from rivers and bandits and his own countrymen and Gentiles. My God, what is my excuse? Why can't I finish the race? Why can't we finish the race? We have Paul giving us the example of understanding that life is difficult, but God has placed in our spirit the courage to finish the race, the courage to continue on. Because, my friends, is there anything more detrimental to our character than half-finished tasks, or turning aside what God has placed in our hearts to finish? I believe life is a struggle. So what is it that we might cling to when struggle begins to challenge our character, when it might be easier to take flight than to fight? What is it that we can cling to? And Paul is very poignant in this. He says it is faith. Keep the faith. How do we do that? Knowing that faith is a verb, two quick thoughts that I think speak to us this morning. To Paul, writing to Timothy, Paul kept faith because he was grounded in the next generation. Please ponder that. Paul was writing to Timothy so that Timothy would carry on the good news of the church to the next generation. It was Paul's hope and faith that the next generation of believers would witness a faith that would form the next generation of believers. Might I ask this question? Is our faith grounded deep enough and focused strong enough on the next generation? It is a holy time every week to see the next generation coming down the aisle every Sunday and sitting here, wiggling around, hitting each other, playing with their Transformers. What a blessing. Are we grounded in the next generation? Are we grounded to understand that, friends, they're watching you. They're watching me. They're watching every move we make, and they are taking notes. Because they are going to share with their children what they experience today. We keep the faith when we are grounded in the next generation, but finally we keep the faith when within us we are constantly aware of asking the question, what ultimately will the Master say? For Paul, this would be the crown of righteousness, knowing that by fighting, finishing in faith, he would receive the commendation of well done, good and faithful servant when everything was said and done. Because you know something, the simple truth is that only when our lives are anchored with the one who offers life can we truly fight the good fight. Can we truly finish the race? I leave you with this. What's the takeaway? What's the main point? Paul wrote several letters that are now found in our New Testament. They're called epistles. Friends, you and I are living epistles. You and I are the living letters. The Bible is not complete. It's not a finished document. We continually are writing more epistles. You and I are writing more and more letters. As you come forward to communion this morning, proclaim within your spirit that you are a living epistle. And may what we write be a testimony of fighting the good fight and finishing the race.